Our conversation today is with a fellow who first saw the light of day in Delight, Arkansas. If you were to put all of his records, his hit records, and you would not have run out of them by the time you get to Phoenix. Glen Campbell. Hi, sweetheart.
Hi.
I was trying to think, you know, when I was listening to going through all your bio and everything, by the time I get to Phoenix, Gentle on My Mind, Galveston, Wichita, Lyman, I couldn't think which one I really love the most. What's yours?
I feel the same way you do. I really don't have a favorite.
Yeah, it's like picking your child, isn't it?
Right, it really is.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I got a favorite there. My children. I'm not going to tell you who it is, though.
No, don't.
My latest one, right?
That's right. You saw my eyes like that. But it's so everybody in your family, were they all musical?
Yeah, they were. I think I was very fortunate in the fact that I was like I'm a seventh son of 8 boys and 4 girls. And,
there's something about that sounds biblical.
It must be. Well, I think I'm very lucky.
Yeah.
Well, somebody said Dad should have a knighthood, and Mother said, I bought him one, but he won't wear it. Oh, silly
From Delight, Arkansas, it works.
That's a knee slapper. At home, they call them knee slapper. But I think I'm fortunate. By the time I came along, the only part left to sing, because they all sang. You know, and you go to Church of Christ, Mother went every Sunday, you know, and we were all breastfed, so you was in church with Mama.
Sure.
And I grew up listening to the singing, and no instruments, just singing. And, you know, like 6th or 7th part was the only one that was left.
Oh, and you got to sing harmony all
right. I had to sing harmony literally growing up. I didn't know what lead was till I got out on my own, you know.
You're kidding.
So I think I was very fortunate to get to do that, though.
Which is very interesting because you played on everybody's record dates here, all the sessions. You played on, with the Beach Boys, you played with Frank. I think you may have done a couple of our dates. But when you played with Frank, that had to be Elvis? You did?
Yeah, to Viva Las Vegas with Elvis.
Well, did you?
On Rick Nelson, I went to, I played on Rick's sessions and sang harmony with him on a lot of his stuff.
But most of them, you just played guitar.
Right.
And you couldn't read music.
I could read, I got to where I could read the chord charts, you know.
Yeah.
And count the time, but I couldn't read notes at all.
You couldn't read notes, and you were doing Billy May orchestrations and Nelson Riddle orchestrations, and they never caught up to you?
One of them did. And I can't think of his, Don, Sinatra's.
Oh, yeah, Don, yeah, I know exactly.
Sinatra's arranger. And
what did he say?
He said, you don't read notes? And I was doing a Steve and Edie country album with him.
Sure.
You know? Steve and Edie does favorite country songs. And he said, you don't read notes? And I said, no. He said, do you know the song? And I said, yeah. And he said, well, it's just the lead. So I played it. I played the lead, and I played harmony with it on the intro. And after this, we was listening to the playback, and he looked on me and smiled. And from that day on, Don, every time he would write me a chart, it would have solo Glen, and he wouldn't have any notes in it. And that made me feel good.
Oh, sure. Because that's kind of intimidating. Frank is most meticulous. Oh, and everybody there is very serious. Making records is a very serious business. It's not like we'd go in and, you know, almost have a ball sometimes, depending on who the director was.
I think what made me most comfortable was Don Costa.
Don Costa,
God rest his soul. What a great arranger.
Great musician.
But what made me most comfortable, the guys that I was working with, when I started doing my sessions, were the same guys that I had been working with for like 5 or 6 years, all the great session men, you know, Tommy Tedesco, Hal Blaine, drums, Carol Kay played bass on some of the stuff, Bill, bass player. It was mainly the guys that I had worked with.
Were they in shock when they found out that you were going to be the biggest hit? I mean, they must have been, you know, they said, here's this guy that's just been picking along with us. And there he is singing, so I don't believe it.
Tommy Tedesco, I'll never forget, when I did True Grit on the Academy Awards, here's Tommy Tedesco down in the pit with the orchestra, you know, and he said, he looked up, and Tommy must have gained 100 pounds since the session days.
Well, they said a lot.
And he looked up, he said, just think, if I'd have lost 200 pounds, I could have been up there singing.
I could have been Glen Campbell.
Yeah, but they're great guys. The camaraderie with musicians is the same as with golfers, with football players, with baseball players. It's just there's a click there.
And everybody you just mentioned are people that you've really spent a lot of time with. Did you find Frank vastly different from Elvis?
Yes. Oh, definitely.
In what
so.
way?
Well, Elvis, he would sit around the. He had the stamps. The quartet, Stamps Quartet, was in the studio with us. Anne Margaret was sitting over there.
Oh, that's not bad.
This must have been 1964 or 5
Yeah.
when he was doing this. And they'd sit around the piano and sing gospel music for hours.
Yeah.
It was a great date, you know, and we were getting, what, $60 a session then, you know, for a
Yeah.
3-hour session. And we were there for 12 hours or something like that.
And loving it.
And Frank, we had ran Strangers in the Night for at least an hour. It was Ernie Freeman. Ernie Freeman did the arrangement.
Yeah.
on it. And I was sitting there playing my guitar. Well, by the time Frank got there, I knew the song. I could play it in my sleep because we had run it so much. I was the end guitar player. Sinatra was right there, 4 feet away from me, singing it live. Well, I just play, you know, Strangers in the Night, jing-a-jing. It's in E flat. I was just had my capo on, playing open ring and 12-string guitar chords. And I'd just look at Frank. Well, every time he'd look over at me, well, I'd go right back to the paper like I knew what I was doing, you know. Then I'd look back at Frank, because I was just digging him singing, you know.
I know, but you, yes, but you looked at it, you must have had a kind of a thrill.
Oh, I did.
Oh, down here. I mean, you sound casual about it, but I know you, country boy.
He went in and asked Jimmy Bowen was producing the date. Which Jimmy Bowen is my producer now at Capitol Records. And he went into Jimmy and said, "Who is the fag guitar player sitting on the end over there?" And I just killed me. I said, "I'm a fan." He said it wrong. I'm a fan.
Oh, that's so funny. We'll be back with Glen Campbell, the fan guitar player.
I know every crack in these dirty sidewalks of Broadway. It's knowing that your door is always open and your path is free.
The many faces of Glen Campbell. The many voices of Glen, gosh, that is impressive. You recorded Gentle on My Mind, and then 4 months later, by the time I get to Phoenix, and you had, I guess, 2 of the biggest hits that ever hit the 60s. By far.
Yeah, this is the most played. Gentle on My Mind still is the second most played song of all time on radio.
Is it? I believe it.
Worldwide.
And then you had a succession of songs after that. Tremendous. I'm trying to think what, Southern Nights, which I adored. That came a little bit later.
Yeah, Islanders. Jimmy Webb. When I found Jimmy Webb, I found my poet.
Yeah.
My musical poet. I think Jimmy Webb's the best musical poet that God ever let draw breath. He's just magnificent.
And he has a warm, lyric, beautiful sense when he plays. But could you handle that kind of success at that period in your life?
I don't think I did too good a job of it as I look back on it. But then again, you know, it's like walking the first time, you know. You don't just get up and walk.
It had to happen, though.
It happened overnight, literally overnight for me.
That's right, that's right.
Because, you know, the Summer Brothers Smother Show. You go on Sunday night, network television, and it was in a #1 time slot,
Right.
or close to it.
Right.
And we won the ratings for 6 weeks in a row in the summer.
Exactly.
And you got 45, 50 million people a week watching you. And after the 3rd week, everywhere I would turn, "Hey, Glenn, baby, how are you?" And it was real new to me, real strange. The privacy went that quick. Everything went at once, it seemed like.
I know. But
the money didn't go. I mean, the money was good then.
The money was good, and it kept growing and growing. Then you went to the Good Time Hour, Glen Campbell's Good Time Hour. All those things were absolutely marvelous, and there were some perks that went with it, but there were some of the biggest tragedies that ever happened in your life.
That's right. It sure did. I guess it comes with... Some people don't handle success as well as others.
No, but you have to have a little time to adjust to success.
Oh, definitely.
And your personal life was having a few interesting twists and turns. I would say you were never dull. Your personal life was never dull for a moment.
No, it wasn't.
I think we had a chance to read more about Glen Campbell's personal life almost than we did the notes he played, right?
That's probably so. I don't know. It seemed like it had an effect on my ex-wife. It had an effect on my whole life at that time, I think.
Yeah.
But I tell you, Tommy Smothers, I think, is probably the best television producer I've ever worked for. I mean, or I've ever seen, literally. I mean, he just knew what to put together, because the writing, as you know, writers make a show.
Sure.
You know, if you ain't got nothing to say, you know, then you got nothing to say. But the writers, the genius minds that come up with it, Tommy Smothers put together Steve Martin, Rob Reiner.
Right.
Bob Einstein.
Oh, wow.
And Albert Brooks, Bob's
Yeah,
brother, worked on
sure.
the show some too.
Great.
And I asked Bob, I said, why did he change his name? He said, well, Albert Einstein, who would have believed that? So he changed
That's
his name to
right,
Albert
so it's
Brooks.
Albert Brooks.
And McLean Stevenson,
I know.
Stiller and Mirror. Alan Bly was,
That's right.
was a great guy on the show. And as long as that team was there, boy, the shows were just click, click, click.
But Glenn, it wasn't just the shows. Your records
I think
took
I was...
off more than the shows.
Well, the era was, you know, here was a guy with short hair having hit records, and
That's right.
you know, I was something different than what supposedly the long hairs were at that time.
That's right. But your personal life began to take a nosedive. Your marriage.
The marriage did. I think it was from being on the road so much.
Do you?
Know. Mm-hmm.
And then you married Tanya.
No, I didn't marry Tom.
You didn't marry Tanya?
No.
I thought you married them all.
God, no.
I said, well, now, Glenn, one
Oh,
thing,
well,
give
we
him
were
the-
engaged, yes,
That's right.
that's
You
very
were
true.
for a long and vivid time.
Mm-hmm.
Are you friends now?
I saw her and the baby and her mother back at the CMA Awards this year.
But
Oh, yeah, I am. You know, I don't hold any grudges.
no, but
Why?
you're so happy now
That's right.
with Kim.
That's exactly right. You don't know, when you know you're forgiven when you forgive somebody. And that's the only way you can know. If you hold grudges, oh boy, it'll eat you alive.
I think so, too.
I know people that go through life doing that. You know, they're always angry with the world. But when you forgive somebody for something, it takes a big load off of your shoulders.
Oh,
and I think Jesus Christ that, you know, he's given me the wisdom to know how to forgive somebody.
Yes. You had to be there to receive it, though.
Definitely.
You know, how's Kim different from the other women in your life?
Kim don't nag me. She doesn't nag me.
At all?
She doesn't say do this or do that, you know.
She just there.
Yes, she lets me be the captain of the ship. You know, the man's got to be responsible.
Are you a chauvinist?
Oh, of course
I
not.
hesitate.
I'm showbiz.
Showbiz or
Yes.
chauvin? No, I see. But I mean, you want her there when you come home?
Oh, no, I'm not talking about that. I let her live her life, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Kim's an executive shopper.
Oh, I see.
And she is a great mother
Yeah.
to our 3 little kids.
Yeah.
We got Cal, and I named one Nicholas Caledonia. I really laid some names on them.
Oh, now tell me, wait a minute. Now, one's named after Jimmy Webb,
Well, Jack Nicholas is the first one. Nicholas Caledonia.
Nicholas Caledonia, and
Yeah.
and they're
And the other one is
Caledonia-
Shannon Webb.
Shannon Webb.
Mm-hmm.
Nicholas Caledonia. Aren't you scared somebody's going to say that, child? Caledonia? How come you...
Well, the Caledonia was the old name for Scotland, for the Celtic people.
Exactly.
It dates a long way back before that song.
Yeah.
And we were I'd done a festival in Cork, Ireland, with the Irish bands.
Yeah.
And Kim and I were at the airport, and Cal was with us. He was a baby then, and she was pregnant again. And I said, if it's a girl or boy, let's name it Shannon, because I just love that name. And it was a boy, so we named him Shannon, S-H-A-N-O-N.
Yeah.
The girl spelled with 2 N's.
That's beautiful. They're playing.
When she reached the park,
That's a
I
great
want to
song.
cry every time I hear that.
I'm leaving.
Well,
I was
Southern nights. Have you ever
True
felt
Grit.
a southern
Southern Nights, my song. But True Grit, John Wayne, boy, you had to be jumping up and down. He has to be every man's idol.
Yes, I was really, it was like a dream.
Oh, sure.
I kept thinking, you know, I'm going to wake up any minute now, you know, and I'll be asleep, and I've dreamed all this. You know,
Yeah.
riding on a horse alongside John Wayne. And but I figured Duke knew how to handle all of that, see. You know, working with nobody that
with
ever
a
acted
novice,
before.
with a new fella. But then there's the fellow in between called the director.
Oh, Hathaway, yeah.
Was that a wonderful experience?
It really was. He told John Wayne, don't you try to sing, and Glenn, don't you try to act.
Oh, right there in front of everybody?
I don't know what it was.
Oh,
But I think that was something that a critic said.
that's...
But Hathaway he would holler and, just moan and groan. I mean, he
Now,
was
how could
wonderful.
Yeah, wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
You are a nice person to put it that
No,
way.
after I
Did you
learned what it
enjoy
was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did enjoy it after a while.
Oh, you think that was his way of breaking you down?
Oh,
So you-
sure.
Oh, I see.
He wasn't that mean. He was just his front, you know. It's just like a dog's bark, you know.
I see. Okay. I
If
feel
they bite
better.
you and don't bark, then you know they're real mean. But Hathaway was. I finally told him, I said, Henry, I said, you know, I could be in Des Moines tonight, you know, probably making more money than I could make on this movie right now.
Uh-huh.
And I said, so leave me alone or I'm going to leave.
I'm going to go back. I'm going to go to Des Moines and prove it.
Then Robert Duvall came on the movie. Oh, you talk about, you've seen in the movies, two guys nose to nose. And if I tell you, you're going to... They were that way for about 10 minutes. And Duke looked over at me and he said, boy, that boy's got spunk, don't he? I thought, sure, you know, I thought, you know, of course, I don't think Bob would have hit him, but I'm telling you, it was the funniest thing. I wish they'd have kept that film, boy. That would have been a major film clip of all time.
And Bob Duvall, I'm sure, can fight very quietly, but very lethally.
After, see, Bob played tennis, and I'd go over there, and I'd talk to Bob. It seemed like he was the one I kind of hung on to. I was always in awe of John Wayne. But Bob is really a great guy.
Oh, yeah.
Then he told me a few little key things to do. He said, you know, and I noticed the change in me in the movie.
The moment you got some help.
The moment I got some help, yeah, from Robert Duvall.
Sure, great guy.
Oh, what a great actor.
I wonder if I shouldn't get to golf now, as long as you mentioned tennis. A lot of your dreams in life have come true. You've got Kim. You've got all the records anybody could ask for. Financially secure, economically secure. You can go anywhere in the world.
I got $300 in 4 different banks now.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I wish you wouldn't advertise that fact. Somebody's going to hit you, right? You know. If you wanted to do a new television variety series, you could do it.
I don't know. That's a lot of work. You know that.
Yeah. But if you wanted to beat Arnold Palmer at golf, you think you could do it?
Nah, I did it already.
Oh, you did it already?
I'll tell you what, it worked. Tommy Bolt and I played Don Drysdale. This was in 1969 for the Lorthopedics and for the deaf children in Wichita, Kansas. Mm-hmm. And you know, that goes, Wichita Lineman was out there.
Sure.
And it was #1 pop, rock, and MOR, or something like that.
All 3 charts.
All 3 charts. And we beat them 2 up at 17. We beat Arnold Palmer and Don Drysdale. So I didn't beat Arnold Palmer. I knew.
Okay.
What an idol. I love him.
Oh, isn't he wonderful? Does he really give you lessons?
Oh, yeah. I just bend everybody's ear. I've stopped doing that, though.
Oh, well, listen, I wish you'd bend mine. I'd like you can bend mine with a lesson anytime you like.
Okay.
If you played Palmer head-on and you beat him, how would you feel?
Oh, I'd probably quit playing golf. I doubt if I could ever beat Arnold head-on.
Yeah. No, he's pretty good.
You already seen him. Did you see him in the senior skins game? He made like 5 birdies.
Here's what he had to say about Glen Campbell. Arnie, suppose you lost a one-on-one match with Glen Campbell on the golf course. How would you feel?
Oh, like singing and playing a guitar.
Oh, that's something. I didn't know you had that.
Oh, well, we just threw it at Arnie one day when he was here.
That's good.
After all you've been through and survived as wonderfully as you have, you have any particular philosophy by which you live outside of one wonderful one that you laid on, says you must not hold anger.
Yeah,
you must not hold a grudge.
My dad always said, whip light and drive slow, pay cash or don't go. That's a pretty good one.
Whip light.
Drive slow.
Drive slow.
Pay cash or don't go.
Pay cash or don't go.
Now, I don't know what all that meant. But whip light, all he ever drove was a wagon and team. That's probably why he said that.
That's right.
Don't beat the horses. But treat the other... Daddy always told me, son, treat the other fella as you want to be treated, as you'd like to be treated.
Yeah.
So that really is a philosophy of life.
Yeah.
And to try to do some good. I like the song. I did it on an album called I Will Pass This Way But Once. And if there's any good that I can do, let me do it now.
Yeah.
Lord, show me how.
That wonderful benefit that you do to help raise money for the liver transplant for that young boy. Mm-hmm. That's only one of the things that you've done lately. That's really kind of wonderful. And isn't it nice that we get a chance to pay back?
Oh, yes.
We're the few people that get a chance to do that.
I want to do an album like, I cut an album last year that I thought was just, I've listened to it more than anything I've ever recorded. It's called Favorite Hymns, featuring Tall Oak Tree. And,
there was a tall oak tree.
Alas. How about that for timing?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
But I've played it more than any album I've ever recorded. It's called Favorite Hymns, featuring Tall Oak Tree. It's on Canaan Records.
Mountain high.
We'll be right back. I want to listen to that.
Mountain high, love the sky above.
It really is so beautiful. Things have been moved.
It's knowing that your door
That
is
went
always
so
open
fast.
and your path
They
is free
tried to
walk.
tell me that this program is over. I don't believe it. Will you come back?
Oh, I sure will.
Many times?
Definitely. We haven't even scratched the surface, have
I know it. We haven't even scratched that. One of my favorite shots. You remember this?
I sure do. That's something.
You playing the bagpipes, and I think I was singing Carrie Dance.
I look like I'm really playing them too, don't I?
You are. That's the cutest thing I ever saw. Oh, I love that. Where'd you learn to play the bagpipes? That's tough.
I just must be in the blood. My ancestor is with Campbells of Argyll.
Got to be Scottish. Very.
Definitely Scottish.
Cal, and then you got Shannon and Cal.
Shannon.
All Gaelic, I mean.
All Gaelic names.
Oh, sure.
I love it.
You're always going to be gentle on my mind.
Oh, gosh, me too, you. It's amazing.